Arizona, they have completely shut it down. Rodgers sounded like he couldn't get back in that bunker with the darkness retreat fast enough after that game on Sunday. He is so finished. They all are gutless.
It's Carver and Lisi with Mike Carver and Joe Lisi. Tuesdays, Wednesdays, and Fridays. 8 p.m. Eastern, 5 Pacific. On the SportsGrid Radio Network.
The new SportsGrid app is now available on iOS and the App Store. Experience the ultimate sports betting companion that provides personalized content from your favorite hosts. In-depth matchup previews, game and prop picks, live odds, stats, scores, and more. All in one place. And of course, on the SportsGrid app, you can tune into our live television and radio coverage anytime. On the go, wherever you are. Download the SportsGrid app on the iOS App Store now. It's smarter to be on SportsGrid.
The Technology Minute with George Capalbo.
In case you've been worried about AI taking your job and destroying the world economy, perhaps fear not. A large, well-known fast food chain is quietly dropping its AI-powered drive-through automated order-taking system after some mishaps.
Would you like extra sauce with your 2,100 orders of chicken nuggets?
Believe it or not, these are actual scenarios.
I'm sure you asked for 40 dozen pounds of butter.
The fatal flaw? Voice recognition AI that can't identify misidentified spoken orders.
I just want you to know that I have complete confidence in the long-term success of this mission. By the way, here is your 4-gallon can of bacon-topped caramel ice cream.
Follow me at Chicapalbo on X and stay tuned to The Technology Minute for more cool stuff like this.
When the weather cools off, Major League Baseball playoffs heat up. Sit tight. The World Series is coming. Keep it here for every bit of the action with strategies and information to give you the winning edge. This is the SportsGrid Radio Network.
Ladies and gentlemen,
Please welcome.
It's the opening kickoff with Carver and Lisi.
Here we go, Carver and Lisi with you. SportsGrid Radio, Sirius XM, channel 159. Great to have you with us here on a Wednesday night on the grid. 844-843-6879 is the number. We have a lot to do tonight. Very busy show. We've got tons of live NBA. There's some hockey games, too. We have Maction on a Wednesday night. We also have college football playoff to talk about. We have NFL Week 11, monster matchups, by far the best set of games so far this year. It took 11 weeks, but you have some huge matchups, including tomorrow night with Philadelphia and Washington to kick things off for this week. So we have that. We've even got the golf, Bermuda teeing off. Could be very windy in Bermuda this weekend for that event. So we only got a couple weeks left here in this calendar year before we shut it down until 2025 and the Century Tournament of Champions in Hawaii the first week of January. So we have a lot going on. Solo mission tonight. Carver sans Lisi. Joe's still out on assignment, but he does claim that he will be back on Friday night with us. Claims that he'll be back on Friday night with us. We shall see how that goes for him. So solo mission, not completely alone, never completely alone, because Hit Burbell is here as well, Matthias Burbell. And he even, because there's no Joe, there's no George, there's no anybody else, he got dressed up for the occasion. And he's even got, he did this for me, I guess, the Falcon jersey on tonight. I mean, look at this. Look at this guy. Look at Matthias getting involved.
We're in, baby.
With the Falcon jersey here.
We're here. Yeah. Let's go. I had to wear the gear just for you on camera, feeling nice, feeling great, feeling like a winner, even though we lost on Sunday, feeling like a winner today, Carver. We're rolling.
You should feel like that, Matthias, as you are rolling now. Good job by you with the Falcon stuff. And Matthias also tonight will got UFC, which is a big card on Saturday night. They usually do it right when they go to MSG. Would you say, Matthias, I guess that and International Fight Week are allegedly always their two biggest cards of the year, right? You see MSG is always one of their two biggest cards that they try to put together throughout the calendar year. It has to be. When you go to New York, you got it.
Yeah. No, for the most part, it is one of the biggest cards for sure. This one I think could have been better. We get to see Michael Chandler and Oliveira part 2. It excites me more now, but it didn't excite me about a week ago. So I still don't think there's a lot of names actually after that. That's why I think the card could actually be better from that.
Anytime you get John Jones fighting, people are excited. Everybody loves to see John Jones out there. So we'll get some picks from Matthias later on. And this Dopey Tyson fight is on Friday night too. And I can't believe they even let you bet on this thing, to be quiet. I think it's such a fix. But they let you bet on it. So we're looking at some of those numbers as we continue along throughout the night here on CNL as well. All right, we have lots of action going on. Let's get you updated and see if we're involved in anything. Magic and the Pacers tonight in Orlando for the NBA. 45-41 Pacers lead. Lots of teams on back-to-backs tonight after playing their NBA Cup games last night. Magic are one of those teams. Remember, they blew out the Hornets. They're down 4, catching 3.5 at the half in Orlando. Knicks in the first quarter, down 5 at home to the Bulls. Knicks played last night in Philly and won. Bulls got a little bit of rest. Bulls still catching 4.5, even being up 5 right now at MSG. They're just about finished with the first quarter there. Celtics and the Nets in Brooklyn. Celtics lost at home to the Hawks last night. Yes, I didn't say that wrong. The Celtics lost at home to the Hawks last night. They didn't even have Trae Young. Tonight they're in Brooklyn and they're losing again, 34-26. The Nets in the lead. Remember, Nets almost beat them in Boston last Friday. So they're giving the Celtics are right now in that usual post-championship, early in the season sleepwalking event is what the Boston Celtics are currently involved in right now. I don't think that they particularly care that they are losing or not winning some of these games early on or having to tough it out against some of the quote-unquote lesser teams in the NBA. Nets have been spunky though so far. I think we had the numbers today on Coast Coast. They're 9-2 against the spread so far this year. So they've been very good with the number. Cavs, of course, are going for 13-0 tonight in Philly. Early second quarter, and Philly's up 3, 34-31. This is Philly with no Embiid, no Paul George, and no Tyrese Maxey. All those guys are out tonight. Philly was getting, I believe, it was 11.5, 12.5, and sure enough, they're giving the Cavs a game. A lot of time left to go there. Things change quickly in the NBA. Same thing with the Pelicans, who can barely put a team on the court with how many guys that they have out of the lineup. And they were up, and now the Thunder just took their first lead of the night, 30-28 in OKC. They are there. We have Wizards and the Spurs are about to tip. 9.5 for the Spurs. Pistons and the Bucks in Milwaukee. That's -7 for them. You've got the Clippers getting 5 in Houston against the Rockets. Now, Matthias told me his 5-diamond, no doubt about it, slam dunk NBA prop of the night was Norman Powell, over 21.5 points. Now, Powell has absolutely been filling it up for the Clippers. There's just no doubt. The guy's been draining threes. He's been doing a lot of the work out there. He's also playing for a contract. He's in a walk year, right, Matthias? He's a free agent at the end of the year, pal? This is last year?
I believe so. I believe so. I believe so. I think it was a 3-year deal, too.
Yeah, so he's looking for some money, and he's doing a good job of that so far this season with the Clips. And I actually, remind me later, and I do have it written down somewhere at some point, I need to bring up with Matthias what he thought of Paul George basically calling out the Clipper fans and the Intuit Dome already. Paul George has a lot to say about the Clippers and their fans. I'll get to that with him later on. There you go. We'll tell you what he said. And the Timberwolves, who lost in Portland last night, are in Portland again. Now, remember, this is like from the pandemic days when they used to, when they first came back from the pandemic, they'd send a team to a place, let them stay there for a couple days, get all their games in so they don't have to make one trip. They still do this from time to time. We've seen it a couple times in the NBA already this year, and Minnesota's in Portland for a consecutive night. to play both of their away games against the Blazers. They're laying 10. They were gutless last night. We'll see if they show up tonight. Suns are in Sacramento against the Kings tonight. Kings -8. Suns are going to be missing some guys. Grizzlies are in LA against the Lakers at the Crypto -7. Remember, Grizzlies whacked them at home last week, but no Ja tonight for Memphis is a problem. And that's it for tonight in terms of the schedule in the NBA. Elsewhere, we do have Maction going on, including this god-awful Kent State team who was getting like 30 points against Miami of Ohio. Miami of Ohio is up 10, and they're still laying 25.5. There's about 8 minutes to go in the first half. Eastern Michigan and Ohio tied at 7s. That is in the middle of the second quarter. And Northern Illinois up 17-16 on Akron. 9 minutes left to go in the first half of that one. We also have hockey with us tonight. Red Wings and Penguins scoreless after 1. Leafs and the Caps 1-1 late in the first period in D.C. You have Hurricanes in Utah later. Kings are in Colorado, second game of the TV doubleheader tonight on TNT. And the Knights are laying the lumber out at the Duck Pond against the quack with the Ducks tonight. Another one of Matisse. Matisse, all his teams playing tonight. Got the Clippers, got the Ducks. Everybody's in action for him out on the left coast. So we're just getting going with you on a Wednesday night. Carver, Sands, Lisi here, Sports Grid Radio, Sirius XM, channel 159. We get it rocking with you on the grid right after this.
Don't look like an idiot at work. Know your stuff. Football and everything else. It's smarter to be on SportsGrid. This is the SportsGrid Radio Network.
Know someone with a drinking or drug problem? Learn how to get sober after we share these stories.
I was 35 with 2 beautiful children when my life and addiction started to spiral out of control. After my divorce, I went into a depression cycle and started drinking more often and using prescription drugs. After my second DWI and arrest, my ex-husband threatened to take our children away from me.
I was 17 when I became addicted to heroin and meth. I thought I could quit on my own, but I couldn't. It hit me when I was arrested.
Get sober now. Your private insurance may cover costs and we'll get you here. It's simple. Just call Elite Rehab Placement right now. Please, don't wait. Your life matters to us. 800-959-6348. 800-959-6348. 800-959-6348. Call right now before it's too late. That's 800-959-6348.
Pharrell, Coast to Coast.
Their offense is anemic. I'm not surprised they fired Waldron. I'm surprised Eberflus hasn't been fired, to be honest with you. And I don't really care who they play at quarterback. They're overrated. They're terrible. And another thing, the Bears' D is their corners. They are anemic. They can't stop a runny-nosed.
It's Pharrell, Coast to Coast with Scott Pharrell. Weekdays, 3 p.m. Eastern, noon Pacific. On the home of the winning edge, the Sports Grid Radio Network.
The sharpest football contest show in the land, the Las Vegas Football Contest Show, focuses on Circus Sports Million, Circus Survivor, and the Westgate Super Contest, handicapping the games and releasing our contest picks every week of the season. With 2 former Super Contest winners, Grady Cannon and James Salinas, a former NFL player, Mike Pritchard, and over $1 million in contest prize money won combined, the Las Vegas Football Contest Show will have you prepared this season like none other.
Days are getting cooler and shadows are getting longer. You know what that means? It's football weather. So bundle up and keep it here for all the latest strategies and gridiron information. It's smarter to be on Sports Grid. This is the Sports Grid Radio Network.
Yeah, and we're back. Carver and Lisi with you, Sports Grid Radio, Sirius XM, channel 159. With you on a Wednesday night here on the grid. Carver sans Lisi. Joe out on assignment. He'll be back on Friday. He's got a lot going on. He's done following around the college coaches, trying to get back all his tickets from this past weekend. And he's moved on to now sending me Crypto stuff all day. Crypto to the moon with the crypto. Joe's got me flying today. So I've been listening too a little bit to Joe. So we're going to try to get that stuff squared away as well as we move along. Matthias Burbell is here too, as we've got a lot to do with him as well tonight. He's got the Clipper game rocking with him, so he's got to keep his eyes on that Norm Powell over 21.5. I did see, I knew I put someone, Matthias, from that game in my three-pointer round robin tonight, and that was Van Vliet, actually. It was Van Vliet for Houston is who I put in there. So I'm thinking he's going to hit a couple of threes from the other side of the bar. Powell was too pricey. And the only price I need big numbers, Matthias, and his it was $650 for him to get 6, and I know he's been doing that somewhat, but I needed I couldn't play him for just 2, 3, or 4. I need big numbers, so I passed on.
Anytime you're gonna bet Fred VanVleet, it's a good bet. It's a good bet.
I hope so, because I only need 5 from him, so we'll see if I can get that, and we can get ourselves cooking here tonight. But keep me updated on the Clippers. OKC's now up 5, so they're taking care of business against the Pelicans, who it's amazing how many injuries the Pelicans have now going forward. All right, I didn't get to spend a lot of time on this last night because, look, when George is here on Tuesdays, it's a big football show, but as George likes to say, we call Joe the encyclopedia of college football. George would be more like the leaflet of college football. So that's why we don't get too heavy with George on the college football talk, but that's okay. We do, and Joe's not here tonight, and usually this is when, we start to look at this college football playoff ranking for the first time. So I didn't get to really break it down a bit. And as I digested it a little bit more, and again, I always preface this with this thing is going to change a lot going forward. So you have a lot of people running around today, a lot of talking heads who are screaming to the hills about Georgia being the first team out. And they're screaming to the hills that all the Big Ten teams are in the top 5 and all the SEC teams are not. We all watch plenty of college football. None of us are that stupid to it. I think we know that Georgia, Alabama, Ole Miss, and I'm going to go, I'll even, Texas, I think we put there as well. I think all 4 of those teams would beat on a neutral field and maybe even in the opposing buildings, Notre Dame, Penn State, Indiana. I'm not going to say Ohio State and Oregon, obviously, because I think that those are legitimately good teams. But you look at those teams that it kind of seems like they've put the SEC teams at the back of their rankings. It will all work itself out. They are taking 4 SEC teams in the college football playoff. There's going to be 4. I don't care if they have 2 losses. I don't care if the 4th team has 3 losses. They are 1,000% going to take 4 SEC teams. So, and I think Georgia will be it. Georgia's going to beat Tennessee this week, and Georgia's going to flip back in, and Tennessee's going to flip back out. Now, do I think Georgia, despite having 2 losses, has better wins this year than Notre Dame, Indiana, Penn State? Yeah, they do. And I get all the yelling and screaming today about it. But the reason why it doesn't matter is it will all work itself out. Georgia will win this week. Georgia will maybe make the SEC title game and win that, and it will be completely mute. But all the screaming and yelling about stuff really is too much. I think what we really should be.
Do you feel great about Georgia, though? Do you feel great about Georgia taking on this young, hungry Yamalava Tennessee Volunteer team?
They're going to beat Tennessee at home. They won't lose at home to Tennessee. I don't believe
more than 10 points.
And if the spread's a different story. You're right, man. The spread's a different story. And if Nico's playing, then I would probably take a shot with a 10-piece with Tennessee, because Tennessee's defense is legit and they've played well. But I don't see Georgia losing the football game. Not after losing last week on the road to Ole Miss. And I know this isn't as dominant a Georgia team as, say, 2 years ago, 3 years ago, etc., when they won national championships. I don't think they're as dominant. But I still think that they're one of the 4 or 5 best teams that are in this thing. And I did think it was kind of silly to drop them all the way out.
Loses a game, do you think that, will they still be in playoff contention if they lose? Do you think they can still get into the playoff? No doubt.
I saw something today that was very interesting. And if you look at the SEC standings, there is a chaos scenario that can happen with this, where as long as all the favorites, teams that are favored, win all the SEC matchups going forward. And I think one other upset, which was something like Arkansas beating Missouri or something like that. You would have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. You could have 6 teams tied for first with 6-2 conference records in the SEC. And if that happens, I believe the tweet says, and I'm going to find it during the break because we're going to break down in a minute. I'll get you the exact thing. If that happens, I believe LSU would play Texas A&M or something like that in the SEC title game, which is crazy because LSU, we just saw them get their doors blown off by Alabama. So that doesn't make a lot of sense. But there's just way that they do the tiebreakers with a potential 6-way tie. Now, is it going to end that way? Probably not. I mean, maybe we'll see an upset here or there. We've seen plenty of them so far in SEC play. But you look at it now, Tennessee loses this week. They're at 2. Texas A&M and Texas both have 1. It's going to be very interesting going forward for it, that's for sure. Carver and Lisi, Sports Grid Radio, Sirius XM, Channel 159. We're back on the grid right after this.
That garden hose. And SportsGrid has you covered with strategies and info on football, baseball, and everything else. This is the SportsGrid Radio Network. SportsGrid TV and radio networks are the premier streaming video and audio channel dedicated to serving the sports wagering audience. Found on major smart TV platforms and streaming on SportsGrid Radio and Sirius XM Channel 159. SportsGrid's real-time data, expert commentary, and entertaining analysis transform viewers into informed sports enthusiasts. Our weekday radio lineup begins with the early line at 8 a.m. Eastern with Ben Stevens and Donnie Rightside. Donnie joins Kevin Walsh on Money Line at 11 a.m. Eastern, followed by Football Full Circle at noon Eastern. Kaplan and crew join the party at 1 p.m. Eastern, and Pharrell Coast to Coast keeps things rolling from 3 to 6 p.m. Eastern. Get in the mix with Kevin Walsh and Game Time Decisions at 6 p.m. Eastern. Evenings simmer with Carver and Lisi, then boils over with Gabe Moritzi on Sports Rage Late Night at 10 p.m. Eastern. To find out where to find Sports Grid that's best for you, go to sportsgrid.com. It's smarter to be on Sports Grid. Carver and Lisi.
They have, no doubt about it, shut it down. You listen to some of those guys after that loss in Arizona, they have completely shut it down. Rodgers sounded like he couldn't get back in that bunker with the darkness retreat fast enough after that game on Sunday. He is so finished. They all are gutless.
It's Carver and Lisi with Mike Carver and Joe Lisi. Tuesdays, Wednesdays, and Fridays. 8 p.m. Eastern, 5 Pacific. On the SportsGrid Radio Network.
The SportsGrid Radio Network presents This Date in Sports History.
Okay, we got to hang a sign out that says the doctor is in.
1985, Dwight Gooden wins the Cy Young Award and is the youngest 20-game winner.
Looking to strike out the side. He does it.
Pitching that year was just a magical year, and when I pitched, I did want the 10 strikeouts, I did want the shutout, I did want a complete game. I want to get a fan something extra to go home about.
For SportsGrid Radio, I'm Mike DeMurgis.
Right before your very eyes, the boys of summer are about to become the champions of fall.
MLB playoffs are coming.
And SportsGrid will bring you all the angles, strategies, and info. It's smarter to be on SportsGrid. This is the SportsGrid Radio Network.
And we're back. Carver and Lisi, Sports Grid Radio, Sirius XM, Channel 159. Great to have you with us here on the grid. Carver sans Lisi, Joe out on assignment. He'll be back with us on Friday night. Hitler Bell's here as well. And we're going to get a lot of NFL later, lots of things. Philly and Washington we got to get to, etc. I got some stuff to do on the Bills and the Chiefs and too. But I want to get this out because I want to make sure I got this right. So here's what I found, Matthias. So this is the wild scenario. If every SEC favorite wins the next 3 weeks, and Arkansas beats Missouri, which is on Thanksgiving weekend, LSU would play in the SEC championship game versus the winner of the Texas A&M game. That is if every favorite won. Now, some of those are, just give you this here, like this week, Texas to beat Arkansas, LSU to beat Florida, Georgia to beat Tennessee, South Carolina to beat Missouri. Next week, Texas A&M to beat Auburn, Ole Miss to beat Florida, LSU to beat Vandy, Missouri to beat Miss State, Bama to beat Oklahoma, Texas to beat Kentucky. So far, I haven't said anything that's not completely out of the question. That's all favorites winning over dogs. Now, you'll say there's one of these dogs is going to win. You're probably right. It's been a wild year in the SEC. And then the last weekend, Ole Miss to beat Miss State, Bama to beat Auburn, LSU to beat Oklahoma, Missouri, like we said, Arkansas would have to beat Missouri, Texas beat Texas A&M, Tennessee beat Vandy. Now, what if Missouri won that game? Then it would be Alabama playing the winner of the. Let me actually just check this out here, because they have this thing is pretty cool. You could put in who wins these games and who would play. So if Missouri did win the game, it would be, yes, that's right, Matthias. It would be Alabama would play the winner of the Texas A&M game in the SEC title game. So that Missouri-Arkansas game flips enough strength of victory or whatever the tiebreaker is for a 6-way tie. That swings a lot, but that's only if all the favorites win the next 2 weeks. And as I said, there's nothing too earth-shattering about these matchups. It's not impossible. And if you believe in stuff like this, and if Joe is here, and I'll bring this to him Friday night, they currently have LSU listed on FanDuel at 33-1 to win the SEC. 33-1. And, the path isn't impossible for them to play in that game. As much as we all thought they were completely finished when they got rubbed out by Alabama. Now, LSU's got who left? I just told you. They have Florida this week, Vandy, and Oklahoma. Not exactly three of the best teams in the SEC. But Vandy's been good this year. That game would be, I believe that game's at LSU, so that would probably be a problem for them. But 33-1 for something that's not completely off the table?
They're cooked.
I hate LSU, but
they're cooked.
It's not impossible. Okay,
I
think they're cooked too, but all the stuff that I just looked at there, that scenario, I don't think is that impossible.
But maybe to get to the game, but they have to win the game, though. You know what I mean? Anybody that they get, they're going to lose their game no matter what.
If you have that ticket at 33-1 and you're in and they get to the game,
then you hedge it.
You have tons of options with whoever they're playing, whether obviously Texas or Texas A&M. You'll have a lot of options. Now, who would you be worried about? I mean, one little thing probably changes this. Like, let's say Missouri beats, obviously Missouri beating South Carolina this week would probably change some of it as well. Actually that would get LSU in as well in the title game. There's some avenues for them. There's definitely some avenues, and I think it's worth looking at. They have Texas as plus 110 to win, Alabama plus 410, Ole Miss plus 650, Tennessee plus 850. I'm pretty sure, it's amazing that LSU would win a 6-way tiebreaker to get into the game. They got to handle their business first. Just a weird oddity that you have. But I got kind of off track from what I originally wanted to say, and I'll have to come back to it, which is the college football playoff, the Crack Crab and Lobster Committee. They know they're finagling this thing. They're generating interest. They're generating talking. They know the SEC teams are better than Penn State and Notre Dame, and they will accordingly move them forward as we get to the end of November and the real matchups and the real rankings come out. You won't have to worry about the nonsense that they've been putting out there now. Carver and Lisi, SportsGrid Radio, Sirius XM 159. We're back after.
Fall is is here. It's getting cooler. Football and the World Series are coming in. Life is good. SportsGrid makes it better. Get the winning edge. This is the SportsGrid Radio Network.
If you turned 65 recently like me, it's important you find a Medicare Advantage plan that gives you the coverage you're looking for. But finding one can be difficult. The best thing I did, and I suggest you do the same, is call a licensed insurance agent and let them walk you through your Medicare Advantage plan options. There are so many benefits you have access to, so make the call now and let the representatives explain everything to you. Our licensed insurance agents can offer you a variety of Medicare Advantage plans. Plus, the call is free, the information is free, and there's no obligation to enroll. We're here to make it easy for you to select a Medicare Advantage plan that may work for your needs. Finding a Medicare Advantage plan can be easy if you do what I did. Make a quick call right now to learn more. Thank you.
800-365-6303. 800-365-6303. 800-365-6303. That's 800-365-6303.
The Technology Minute with George Capalbo.
In case you've been worried about AI taking your job and destroying the world economy, perhaps fear not. A large, well-known fast food chain is quietly dropping its AI-powered drive-through automated order-taking system after some mishaps.
Would you like extra sauce with your 2,100 orders of chicken nuggets?
Believe it or not, these are actual scenarios.
I'm sure you asked for 40 dozen pounds of butter.
The fatal flaw? Voice recognition AI that can't identify misidentified spoken orders.
I just want you to know that I have complete confidence in the long-term success of this mission. By the way, here is your 4-gallon can of bacon cobbed caramel ice cream.
Yahoo! Follow me at Chicapalbo on X and stay tuned to The Technology Minute for more cool stuff like this.
Fall is almost here. It's time to stow the lawnmower and get ready for all that glorious action coming your way. Stay tuned to SportsGrid for all the strategies, angles, and info you need to get the winning edge. This is the SportsGrid Radio Network.
And we're back. Carver and Lisi with you, Sports Grid Radio, Sirius XM, Channel 159. On a Wednesday night, Carver Sands, Lisi, Joe out, hanging solo mission. Not really solo, because Matthias Probell has his Falcon jersey on tonight as he gets ready. He's watching the Clipper game. He's got UFC picks later. He's got some other things that we'll get into. I'm sure he's got Falcons and Broncos coming up Sunday in the late window. Very tricky game for Atlanta as they go to take on Denver this week. So he's got to be very careful of that. Very tricky game.
I got good props for that game. I got great props for that game for Sunday, Carver. I like a lot of props for that game, on Denver's side included. You know, the best thing about being a fan, you know about their weaknesses, Carver. So I know how to attack this Atlanta Falcon defense right here. Let's go.
Okay, so we've got Denver props to go against the Atlanta D. So that's good, too.
Do.
We can get involved
Rolling,
in a
baby.
couple of those. So there you go. We gave you the SEC stuff. The Big 12 is still madness, too. But, again, you're looking for odds of these teams to win these title games. Colorado's plus 135. BYU's plus 185. Kansas State 7-1. Iowa State plus 750. Arizona State 12-1. Arizona State plays BYU in a couple weeks, and I know they got a tough game with Kansas State this week, but you know they've got a chance to be there as well. BYU's undefeated. Colorado's got one loss, and then you know the door opens. You got 4 teams with 2 losses, including Arizona State and West Virginia. They have West Virginia at 45-1 to win the Big 12. They play Baylor, UCF, and Texas Tech the last 3 weeks. They get a little bit of help. You never know. Again, you're just looking to have that big ticket in the title game where it's a one-on-one spot. And I'd have to look at all the scenarios for West Virginia because, look, they have 2 losses in conference. They would need at least one of Colorado or BYU to slip back to them in that spot. But the Big 12 is crazy as always. Big 10 is going to be Oregon and Ohio State. I don't think there's much there. And ACC is going to be 2 out of 3 of Miami, SMU, and Clemson to win that conference. So There you go. A couple of things with the college football playoff as we roll forward. NBA tonight, we're going through tonight's games. I want to actually go to last night real quick and just say something about those NBA Cup games. And I am, without question, one of the biggest anti-NBA regular season game guys that there is out there. I can't stand the NBA regular season. I don't like betting on it. I don't like anything about it because I never know who cares. I never know who's playing. I never know because the regular season is so meaningless in that league that it's hard to take seriously, especially in November and December. It's really hard to get a good grasp on the NBA. You see some huge spread. I mean, look at Atlanta last night. It was a 16-point dog and they won. But still, last year I felt that those NBA Cup games, and last year it was called the in-season tournament. This year they put a flashy name on it and called it the NBA Cup. Last year I thought the NBA Cup games in the month of November had, I'm not saying playoff type feel, but you could tell watching the games that there was definitely a little bit extra that was put on them as opposed to the random November and December NBA regular season game. So I think that and you saw it last night with the first set of them, and they play these on Tuesdays and Fridays now here. The next couple of weeks is when you get the NBA Cup. And I just felt you got better games. Atlanta-Boston game was good last night. Big upset. Detroit-Miami game was crazy. I mean, Hero hitting 10 threes. Spoelstra calling a timeout when he didn't have one at the end. Pulling a Weber. Wild game. You had the Warrior-Mav game was good. You know, the Knicks beat the Sixers in Philly. You know, you had Portland upset Minnesota. Just feels like there's a little bit more juice to some of these games with the NBA Cup. And is that because, as you know, me and Pharrell talk about, they're getting money out of it? Sure. I mean, I think it's hard at this stage to that being your sole thing. I think once you get to maybe the Vegas week and you're in the semis and in the championship game, the money on the table, you can smell it a little bit more. But I think for some of these teams that are playing well early in the year, it's a chance to measure itself. We saw Indiana last year get off to a hot start, make it to the finals of that NBA Cup against the Lakers, and they ended up reaching the Eastern Conference Finals. I think it helped them. So I think you look at teams like the Cavs right now, who are undefeated. And they're down 6 at the half, by the way, to the Sixers right now. So we'll see if that stays there. But I think that there is a little bit of added juice to some of these games. Now, Matthias is an NBA guy.
I agree with you.
He likes the NBA.
No, I agree with you.
Do you think there's a little extra gas in these Cup games? You like them, but you think there's a little bit more on the line?
Absolutely, but that's what happens when you have such a long regular season. You know what I mean? Like, if you're an athlete, you wake up in the morning, it's just like, it's not a regular season game. And even if you were younger playing sports and, you have tournaments in between your regular season type of environment, those games stand out more. They're just different. You know what I mean? It's just the word tournament kind of turns it up for, a notch no matter what. You take the word regular out of there, right? So it is what it is, man. But the thing is, they play harder. I don't think it's just about them. Like I said, they compete, bro. But I had the thought that came into my head. I was ready to say it and completely just left my mind. But like,
I hate when that happens, Matthias. Whenever that happens,
I was ready for you.
So.
I was about to cut you off and tell you something, but it has to do with the NBA about this playoff, man.
I wouldn't let you. I wouldn't let you do it. That's what I do. I didn't let you get in and cut me off. So when it comes back to you, you make sure that you cut me off then, and you let me know when it comes back to you with it. But I will tell you this: look for the hot teams right now. And those are the ones that you probably want to back here. Like, which team. Philly's injury trodden, New Orleans injury trodden. Warriors are playing good ball right now. Warriors are 10-1 to win this NBA Cup. I could see it. Cavs are playing good ball now. They're 9-1 to win this NBA Cup. Could see it. You look a little bit further down. I mean, they have the Knicks as the favorite right now, which, I don't know if I agree with so much.
It came to me. I gotta cut you off. It came to me.
Oh, there you go.
You know
go
what?
ahead, Matthias.
It came to me. I was like, what the hell happened? I didn't think it was going to work at first, Carver. I didn't think it was going to work at first because I thought, I think it's the Premier League, in soccer with the FA Cup. What happens with the FA Cup? You get to see the reserves go in You know what I mean? You get to see the guys that don't play that much, them work their way onto the real team. But you could even put the backup goalkeeper into the FA Cup games, and that backup goalkeeper literally plays all of his games with the FA Cup type of team until they get to the finals or even in the finals. So it's like, I think that with these teams, when it started, that you'd play guys that don't play that much. You play the bottom of the bench. You get the rest, Kawhi Leonard and James Harden every single one of those tournament games. But it's the exact opposite. You know what I mean? And it's the opposite because now they want to play these games. They want to win these games. And like I said earlier, it's a tournament. When you have so many games, these games are just bigger. It's not like the Premier League like I thought it was going to be, man. I'm like with you. I don't like regular season basketball either. I don't like to bet on it because I lose. You don't know who's going to be hot. You don't know who's going to be not. If guys take bad shots, they don't want to play. Like you said, it's a crapshoot. But these tournament games, they're dope, and I like how they have the different court. I like how they have the colorful court, the ambiance of the whole thing. It's different. I like it.
That stuff's cool, and I know there was a lot of people crying about that also. Get over it. Like, it's something different. Instead of the boring old stale stuff that you watch every night. All right, so then a full green court or the blue court or whatever. Get lost. It's something different. Looking at some of these,
it takes me back to the Hornets
as well.
It takes me back to the young Hornets days, or the Charlotte Hornets, where they had the colorful court. You know what I mean? In between the 3-point line.
Yes, the Hive. Absolutely, they used to have that. Like they have some of these group winners. Indiana is plus 290 to win that Group B in the East. The Bucks just aren't playing well right now. I know they beat Toronto last night. Like, that's a good number. I think there's a couple of these groups where you can find some pretty good numbers on a few teams. Carver and Lisi, SportsGrid Radio, Sirius XM. We're back after this on the grid.
Yeah, it's getting cooler. Football weather is here. Stay tuned for all the latest odds, strategies, and info. It's smarter to be on SportsGrid. This is the SportsGrid Radio Network.
The new SportsGrid app is now available on iOS and the App Store. Experience the ultimate sports betting companion that provides personalized content from your favorite hosts. In-depth matchup previews, game and prop picks, live odds, stats, scores, and more. All in one place. And of course, on the SportsGrid app, you can tune into our live television and radio coverage anytime, on the go, wherever you are. Download the SportsGrid app on the iOS App Store now. It's smarter to be on SportsGrid. The SportsGrid Radio Network presents This Date in Sports History.
Okay, we got to hang a sign out that says the doctor is in.
1985, Dwight Gooden wins a Cy Young Award and is the youngest 20-game winner.
Looking to strike out the side. He does it.
Pitching that year was just a magical year, and when I pitched, I did want the 10 strikeouts, I did want the shutout, I did want a complete game. I want to give a fan something extra to go home about.
For SportsGrid Radio, I'm Mike DeMurgis.
SportsGrid TV and radio networks are the premier streaming video and audio channels dedicated to serving the sports wagering audience. Found on major smart TV platforms and streaming on SportsGrid Radio and Sirius XM Channel 159. SportsGrid's real-time data, expert commentary, and entertaining analysis transform viewers into informed sports enthusiasts. Our weekday radio lineup begins with the early line at 8 a.m. Eastern with Ben Stevens and Donnie Rightside. Donnie joins Kevin Walsh on Money Line at 11 a.m. Eastern, followed by Football Full Circle at noon Eastern. Kaplan and crew join the party at 1 p.m. Eastern, and Pharrell Coast to Coast keeps things rolling from 3 to 6 p.m. Eastern. Get in the mix with Kevin Walsh and Game Time Decisions at 6 p.m. Eastern. Evenings simmer with Carver and Lisi, then boils over with Gabe Moritzi on Sports Rage Late Night at 10 p.m. Eastern. To find out where to find SportsGrid that's best for you, go to sportsgrid.com. It's smarter to be on SportsGrid. No way football is played in the fall and winter because the hits don't hurt as much when you're numb. Get the lowdown on all the sports action coming up right here. It's smarter to be on SportsGrid. This is the SportsGrid Radio Network.
And we're back. Carver and Lisi, SportsGrid Radio, Sirius XM Channel 159. Here with you on the grid. I don't know if you've seen this, Matthias. I don't know. DraftKings does this King of the Court. Have you seen this promo that they do? King of the Court. I know you probably don't have that out by you.
I have not seen that yet.
So they
I'm a
did it.
BetMGM
They
guy.
did it the first 10 days of the regular season, something like that. When the season started, they did it till like November 1st or whatever, and then it was a great promo. So they give you like a token every day. You bet one player, a player prop on that guy, whether it's points, rebounds, or assists, and that's your guy for the night. And whoever player leads the night in points, rebounds, assists total, they call him the King of the Court, and they split like a bonus bet amongst all the people who picked that player. Okay, that's like the promo that they did, and it was very popular. Had lots of juice, a lot of social interaction, a lot of strategy. You know, you take a guy that everyone's on, you try to go on, someone else a little further down the line. So I did hit one out of the first 10 days. I think that I had it the night SGA. It was a Sunday night, and I got like a $90 bonus bet or something like that off of it. Now there were some nights, the night LeBron got it, everybody got like an $1,100 bonus bet. You know, because they split the million amongst whoever many people bet that player. So they brought it back tonight out of nowhere, and I'm going to tell you who I took in it because they got off to a hot start here in the first half. I took Wembanyama for the Spurs tonight because it seemed like he was starting to get things going. He got 21 points. He's got 21 points with 8 minutes left in the first half. He's hit 4 threes. Now, but here's the thing though, he's only got 1 rebound and 1 assist. So even though, because it's all 3 combined, and it's whoever has the most in every game, and there's a lot of games tonight in the NBA. But if Wembanyama could just, keep piling up and maybe fill up the rest of those columns, 47-45. It's a close game. It's a close game.
Okay, that's great. That's great though.
So
that's good because
we're
it would have
rooting
been a
for
blowout.
Wembanyama, and the prop I played, because I always play because it was like a $5 or a $10 max, like you play on it. So I always take whatever the player's like highest point total is and just hope they have a monster night. So I took him for 40. So I have Wembanyama for 40, and he's got 21. It's still in the first half. It was 13-1 for him to have 40.
So you need 4 assists, 6 bounds, and the rest some points.
Well, if he got me the 40 points and then the rest combined to 10, he got in the 50s, I'd be in good shape. I'd be in real good shape. You want to try to at least, when on a busy night like this, where there's a ton of games, it seems like for this promo, you want to have your guy at minimum cross 50. So he's still got a lot of work to do, but we're off and running back with King of the Court, which was
Exciting.
A nice promo that they came up with. And I like it. I think it's cool. So
we have that working too. Spurs. A way to
keep
track of the Spurs, baby.
What did you think of Paul George giving the business to and he does a lot of podcasts. Is that his own podcast he was doing that on? He does a lot of podcasts for a guy who doesn't play often. He's got a lot of time to talk, Paul George. But why does he keep going after the Clipper fans? He's that upset that they booed him that night, that he came back to the Dome? Like, does he not understand that unless you bring a team a championship, nobody cares about you? Like, unless you play your entire career there. Like everybody threw their bouquets at Klay Thompson last night and go, that's because Klay Thompson won a ton of titles for the Warriors. They'll never boo the guy there. They'll never pay for a drink there. Paul George was with the Clippers for 4 years. You're a fan, Matthias. What did he do for you? What did he do for the Clippers? Nothing.
Got injured, played tough, got some rebounds, played some big games sometimes, but nothing. Yeah, nothing that is going to stand out to top tier type stuff. And you know what? There's one thing about Paul George. Paul George right here. I even got his little figure right here. He's right here, Mr. Paul George. Yeah. He's gone. Hasta la vista. He's gone. And the thing is, he said some truthful things with the Clippers. He did. Is their fan base extra strong? They have a real home court advantage. Does the building sell out with specifically Clipper fans every single game? No, it doesn't. And I think he was just sending a jab towards the fan base when the fan base booed him when he was with the Sixers. And to say, at the end of the day, the Clippers didn't pay him big money because they didn't think he needed that type of money. I don't think he was worth that type of money. And as we've seen with the Sixers, the Sixers aren't doing very well, and he's not going to be the guy that's going to take him over the top. And that's why the Clippers didn't pay him. I think the Clippers are in a better spot now than they would have been if they did pay Paul George. But are the things that he said truthful? Yeah, they were. They like Clipper fans today. Me and them were going at it on Twitter a little bit because, they're sensitive. They're a sensitive fan base. They've never won anything, and I'm part of that fan base. But I'm not as sensitive because I understand that the Clippers have made a ton of mistakes all the damn time, and that's just always who they're going to be until something crazy happens. Like, look, we're still messing around with Kawhi Leonard. But at the end of the day, Paul George isn't wrong. The fan base does need to step up. They need to start selling out the Intuit Dome more because they're just simply not. Parking is insane. But I don't think people want to go because it's $60 to park in the damn thing. It's
That's
$40 to get in,
now.
and it's 60.
That's everywhere.
It's
that's everywhere.
That's what I'm saying.
You've been going to SoFi for $10 a game, but how much are you paying to park the car at SoFi?
$60.
Oh, it's more than the ticket. $60 to park at SoFi, right?
It is. It is,
Yeah,
but the Clipper game is different, man. And I haven't been to the Clipper game at the Intuit Dome yet. I got my tickets for December 1st against the Denver Nuggets Sunday night, so that's going to be the first time I go to that place and really enjoy a Clipper atmosphere. We'll see what it's all about.
Are you sitting in the wall? Are you in the wall?
No, I'm not sitting in the wall. I'm sitting in the main. I'm sitting center court type of thing. I got good tickets.
Okay.
I wanted to have a good experience for my first time, but I can't sit at the wall the next time. They're going to make you fill out a whole entire waiver thing. It's a process to actually become a wall member, Mike. So
wait a second. You can't just get a ticket and sit at the wall. You can't buy a ticket on StubHub and sit at the wall. You got to have a.
You got to prove it. You got to prove that you're a real Clipper fan. You got to prove it.
That's serious. Carver and Lisi, SportsGrid Radio, Sirius XM 159.
The boys of summer become the champions of fall. The World Series is on its way. And SportsGrid brings you every angle. This is the SportsGrid Radio Network. Pharrell, Coast to Coast.
Their offense is anemic. I'm not surprised they fired Waldron. I'm surprised Eberflus hasn't been fired, to be honest with you. And I don't really care who they play at quarterback. They're overrated. They're terrible. And another thing, the Bears' D is their corners. They are anemic. They can't stop a runny nose.
It's Pharrell Coast to Coast with Scott Farrell. Weekdays, 3 p.m. Eastern, noon Pacific. On the home of the winning edge, the SportsGrid Radio Network.
Do you use the expensive blue or yellow pills to charge your sex life? Are you thinking about it? What if we can promise you the same results for less than $3 a pill? If you're paying $20 a pill for the other pills, you're getting taken to the cleaners. Our pills deliver the exact same results for less than $3. You'll save more than $16 a pill for the same results. And right now, radio callers will get 44 blue or yellow pills for $120 with free discreet shipping. You can save more than $700 off pharmacy prices. Charge your sex life now and save a ton of money. Call now and get your 44 pills and save over $700 and qualify for free shipping. Stop overpaying and call right now.
Paid for by Steelman Pills. 800-823-3851. 800-823-3851. 800-823-3851. That's 800-823-3851.
The new SportsGrid app is now available on iOS and the App Store. Experience the ultimate sports betting companion that provides personalized content from your favorite hosts. In-depth matchup previews, game and prop picks, live odds, stats, scores, and more. All in one place. And of course, on the SportsGrid app, you can tune into our live television and radio coverage anytime. On the go, wherever you are. Download the SportsGrid app on the iOS App Store now. It's smarter to be on SportsGrid.
Get sports gaming strategies and information 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. Everything you need to get the winning edge. Right here. All the time. No wonder the wife says you never listen to her. This is the SportsGrid Radio Network.
And we're back. Carver and Lisi, SportsGrid Radio, Sirius XM 159. Good to have you with us here on the grid. I was telling you about this king of the court thing. So now that Wembanyama's doing well, Matthias, I'm like looking at what everyone else is doing around the league. Giannis has 22 with 5 minutes left in the first half. But the Bucks are losing by 13. They're getting smashed by the Pistons.
It was a weird line.
And the
that was
Bucks
a weird line today.
suck right now. Bucks are awful. The Cavs have tied the Sixers now in the third, so they'll probably end up blowing them out. Rockets are up 2 on the Clippers in Houston with just under 5 minutes to go in the first half there. Halftime, Celtics are up 5 on the Nets. Pacers up 72-70 on the Magic early in the fourth quarter in that game. The Bulls are up 14 on the Knicks as they start the second half at the Garden. And Thunder up 4 on the Pelicans as they are they're at halftime right now, actually, as I'm watching that here. As far as the Maction goes this evening, everyone loves the Mac. Kent State, who's getting like 30, is at Miami of Ohio. They're down 10 at the half, 17-7. Northern Illinois up 23-16 on Akron at the half. And Ohio leads Eastern Michigan 14-7. You also have hockey tonight, 2-2 now. Red Wings and the Penguins, as they are in the second. Bavillier and Rust for the Penguins. Kane and Bergeron for the Wings. 2-1 Caps lead the Leafs. As you actually make that 3-1. They just scored now as I was looking at it. So 3-1 Caps lead the Leafs. They got about halfway through the second in that. 3 other games tonight, including the Vegas is at the Duck Pond. Hurricanes are in Utah against the Hockey Club, and several other things there. We will come back. We got a minute or two here, but we'll start the second hour with the football for this week. You have yourself 3 marquee matchups, including the Thursday night game, which since Joe's not here, I get to do the SGP, and we'll get Matthias. Matthias is going to have to get a leg in too for the Eagles and the Washington football team, now known as, but not always known as, the Commanders, who will be playing. So we'll have to do the SGP in this hour, but 3 heavy hitter games this week in the NFL. Washington, Philly, Thursday night. Ravens, Steelers, Sunday at 1. Bills, Chiefs, Sunday at 4:25. 3 excellent games. I don't think the Sunday night game's awful either. Are those going for $8 again too with the Bengals? Bengals are at SoFi against the Chargers. Is that another $8 special on Sunday night since they moved it to a night game? Yes, Matthias.
No, it's not.
In for $8.
It's still a special. It's not. I knew it was more expensive, but you could still go. That's the thing. Like this, it's not top dollar.
20 instead of 8, $25.
You know what? It's gone down. It's gone down. It's gone down since yesterday. Yesterday it was $49. Today, right now, it's $45. So things are looking good.
It's also Joey Silk. You get Burrow in there. That's a main attraction. Burrow and Chase coming to SoFi, where of course the season where they lost.
It's a Sunday night game.
It's a very big game. It's a big game. There's actually a lot at stake in that game. The Chargers have a chance. The Chargers win on Sunday night. They can officially, I think, separate themselves, clean break from all that other seed 7 and lower. I think the Chargers can put themselves attached to, I'm not saying as good as these teams, but I think the Bills, the Chiefs, the Steelers, the Ravens, and the Texans are all in. Like, they're going to be in the playoffs. And I think the Chargers beating the Bengals, I think they're going to attach themselves into that pile of going to be a playoff team, and it'll push the Bengals further back on the line. It's a big game for a lot of reasons for the Chargers. It's a tough game for them, though. But their defense is going to really.
Carver,
their defense has been very good.
I gotta say,
very
man,
good.
I've been to a lot of Charger games now, and this was the most pumped up fan base so far. Like, there was a lot of Charger fans. You didn't see a lot of Titan fans.
Was there really a lot of Charger fans there? Was there really a lot of Charger fans?
There was. It was a lot of Charger fans. It was it was a lot of Charger fans, man. It was loud.
Harbaugh's
it was
bringing
ambitious.
them out. Harbaugh's getting them all out with Harbaugh. Harbaugh's got a lot of energy.
Who's got it better than us? Nobody.
Nobody. We'll come back and talk about some of these games. Keep our eye on the hoops as well. Carver and Lisi, SportsGrid Radio, Sirius XM 159. We're back there.
is here. It's getting cooler. Football and the World Series are coming in. Life is good. SportsGrid makes it better. Get the winning edge. This is the SportsGrid Radio Network. Carver and Lisi.
They have, no doubt about it, shut it down. You listen to some of those guys after that loss in Arizona, they have completely shut it down. Rodgers sounded like he couldn't get back in that bunker with the darkness retreat fast enough after that game on Sunday. He is so finished. They all are gutless.
It's Carver and Lisi with Mike Carver and Joe Lisi. Tuesdays, Wednesdays, and Fridays. 8 p.m. Eastern, 5 Pacific. On the SportsGrid Radio Network.
The Technology Minute with George Capalbo.
In case you've been worried about AI taking your job and destroying the world economy, perhaps fear not. A large, well-known fast food chain is quietly dropping its AI-powered drive-through automated order-taking system after some mishaps.
Would you like extra sauce with your 2,100 orders of chicken nuggets?
Believe it or not, these are actual scenarios.
I'm sure you asked for 40 dozen pounds of butter.
The fatal flaw? Voice recognition AI that can't identify misidentified spoken orders.
I just want you to know that I have complete confidence in the long-term success of this mission. By the way, here is your 4-gallon can of bacon cob caramel ice cream.
Follow me at Chicapalbo on X and stay tuned to The Technology Minute for more cool stuff like this.
The sharpest football contest show in the land, the Las Vegas Football Contest Show, focuses on Circus Sports Million, Circus Survivor, and the Westgate Super Contest, handicapping the games and releasing our contest picks every week of the season. With 2 former Super Contest winners, Brady Cannon and James Salinas, a former NFL player, Mike Pritchard, and over $1 million in contest prize money won combined, the Las Vegas Football Contest Show will have you prepared this season like none other.
You're listening to where real winners go for actionable insights and expert perspectives on daily sporting events.
7 days a week.
It's not a secret or anything. I mean, we have a promotion budget for Pete's sake. This is the SportsGrid Radio Network.
Ladies and gentlemen, please welcome.
It's the opening kickoff with Carver and Lisi.
All right, here we go. Carver and Lisi with you. SportsGrid Radio, Sirius XM, channel 159. Great to have you with us here on the grid. 844-843-6879 is the number. We have a lot to do here in this hour. We will go through some of these NFL Week 11 games. We have the golf starting in Bermuda on Thursday. There's actually a big DP World Tour event, too, their World Championship in Dubai, which actually I think tees off tonight. I saw like 11 or 12 o'clock East is when they're going to start that. And we came close last week. We had Matt Wallace, Cam had Hatton, and a few other guys that were near the top. So we're going to try to break through this week. I'll give you the picks that we have for that. Matthias is going to give you the picks for UFC Saturday night at the Garden, which is Jones and Stipe. And I think he told me Chandler's fighting. I mean, it's got to be, 5 years since Chandler's actually fought somebody. So Chandler's actually, that's because he was waiting around for, well, I'm not lying. He was waiting around for McGregor for 3 years, and that never happened. So now he's finally decided to go and fight somebody else at this point. So good for him in all of that. And I got something else. We'll do something else too. Carver with you, Sans Lisi. Joe out on assignment. He'll be back on Friday for all the NFL and the college picks, weekend preview, etc. That's for sure. I am not completely solo, of course. We've got Hit Burbell here, Matthias Burbell, who's feverishly watching the Clippers and the Rockets tonight in Houston as he gets himself ready for that. All right, NFL Week 11. And we have 3 outstanding games this week. Must-watch games, which is Thursday night, Eagles in Washington. Then 2 on Sunday with Ravens Steelers and then Bills Chiefs. And yes, there are even a couple of other games like we were just mentioning before in the break Chargers-Bengals on Sunday night is a big game. But I want to focus on these three. And obviously the one that I want to really hit home first is this Bills and Chiefs, which is only the 5th time since the merger. There's a lot of stats you could throw, a lot of numbers that you could do with this Bills-Chiefs game. 5th time since the merger, 2 teams with 8 or more wins meeting in week 11 or earlier. So the Bills, of course, at 8-2, the Chiefs at 9-0 as they get ready for this week. And it's very hard for me as a Bill fan to know how to play this week, right? I think they're going to win the game. I do. And it's important that they win the game. I mean, you want to be able to play the Chiefs in your own building when you get to January, even though they got that last year and they still couldn't beat them. But you want to make sure that you could play them there. The Chiefs have been playing with fire for weeks. It just seems like they're so ripe to be beaten. Mahomes has always played well in Highmark Stadium. So obviously, I think the Bills are going to win the game. I think they can win the game, and they will. But at the end of the day, all that really matters is that they have to finally slay the dragon in January. They have beaten the Chiefs in the regular season the last 3 years. They've gone to Arrowhead in the regular season and won the last 3 years. What's happened when they played them in the playoffs? Loss. Last year at home, loss. The 13-second game, loss. So, it would obviously be good to beat them this week, and it probably helps get to the goal, which is more important, and that's finally slaying the dragon. And I've seen the comparisons start to build. I don't think you could really compare anyone to Manning and Brady. I think that's very tough to do because we've now seen that entire book closed. And Mahomes is obviously going to be in that realm or better, but I don't think we could put Josh there yet. As great of a player as Josh is, it took Manning a lot of lumps against Brady before he finally broke through. A lot of lumps. And maybe this is finally going to be the year, which would really be astonishing because I did this with Joe the entire offseason and summer, and Joe, I think, tried to needle me a little bit. I don't think he actually believed it, but he didn't like that I was kind of throwing away the Bills season, thinking that it was I never said rebuild, I said transition year, because they were losing so many of their stars. But to have them in this spot now is pretty amazing. That they're playing the Chiefs at 8-2, a win over the Chiefs will get you to 9-2, have a tiebreaker over them. That bye in that first weekend of the playoffs is now so important. That first weekend's crazy. Lots of weird and wild stuff happens. You'd be better off sitting at home watching it on your couch and then knowing you're going to play in your building the next week, knowing that it's not going to be against one of these other big teams. The one is very important because let's say the Ravens do win the North, and I don't think that that's going to be very easy, and I think the Steelers could beat them this week. But let's just say Ravens beat the North. I think for the Bills, the one is so imperative because it gives them the week off, and they wouldn't play the Chiefs or the Ravens, hypothetically, until the AFC title game, and if they did, it would be in their building. And I think the only way they can assure themselves that they're going to have a chance to do that is if they win this game on Sunday. So as much as you want to say it's not as important as what they have to do in January, I think it helps them get to that final goal by winning this week. And it's going to be very tough because the Chiefs, as we know, every week it's something different. They find a different way every week. Now, this was 2.5 early in the week. And by the way, I saw a lot of this today, and I want to say this now. The Bills, when they have lost to the Chiefs the last few years, it sure as hell isn't because of Josh Allen. Okay, Josh Allen, go look at the numbers. He has been excellent against the Kansas City Chiefs and Patrick Mahomes. His performance in the 13-second game, probably the greatest playoff performance by a losing quarterback potentially ever. That's how good he was in that 13-second game. So you could go chew on all that. Allen doesn't get this done. Allen doesn't get that done. Allen hasn't beaten the Chiefs in January because his defense has let him down. his coach is an idiot, and his kicker let him down. Those are why Josh Allen hasn't beaten the Chiefs the last 2 times he's played him in January. I mean, how many times do you guys want him to bring him down the field in that 13-second game in the last 2 minutes? Never saw the ball again in overtime. Last year, drives the field again after his defense let him down after he got him a lead. Puts him in position, Bass misses a field goal. Diggs drops the ball on the long play. Allen has been money in these games against Patrick Mahomes. Money. And that's why CBS is going there for their game day on Sunday. That's why it's the absolute biggest game on the NFL calendar this year. This will be CBS's highest rated game all year. 425, Bills Chiefs, Mahomes Allen. This is this generation's Brady Manning. Even though one guy hasn't gotten there yet, and I know like people want to put Burrow in there. Burrow's gotten to one, but he hasn't won either. Burrow's at least beaten Mahomes in January. Allen hasn't. But this is the modern day of it. But Allen's got to start to check off some Super Bowls to really make it a fair comparison down the line.
Is
so
Keon
very
Coleman
excited.
playing?
No, he is not. No Keon Coleman this week. Coleman out. His wrist hurt. Now, hopefully Cooper plays. It'd be nice to see Amari Cooper out there. It would be nice to see Dalton Kincaid out there. Kincaid didn't practice on Wednesday. I saw Cooper catching balls out of the jugs machine. We'll see if he can make it. But I think a lot of people will be on the Chiefs this week just because Mahomes is 12-1 as a dog. Rightfully so. I think the Bills are going to Bills will get it done finally at high market against them. Carver and Lisi, SportsGrid Radio, Sirius XM 159. We're back next.
And SportsGrid has you covered with strategies and info on football, baseball, and everything else. This is the SportsGrid Radio Network.
The new SportsGrid app is now available on iOS and the App Store. Experience the ultimate sports betting companion that provides personalized content from your favorite hosts. In-depth matchup previews, game and prop picks, live odds, stats, scores, and more. All in one place. And of course, on the SportsGrid app, you can tune into our live television and radio coverage anytime. On the go, wherever you are. Download the SportsGrid app on the iOS App Store now. It's smarter to be on SportsGrid.
Pharrell, Coast to Coast.
Their offense is anemic. I'm not surprised they fired Waldron. I'm surprised Eberflus hasn't been fired, to be honest with you. And I don't really care who they play at quarterback. They're overrated. They're terrible. And another thing, the Bears' D is their corners. They are anemic. They can't stop a runny nose.
It's Pharrell, Coast to Coast with Scott Farrell. Weekdays, 3 p.m. Eastern, noon Pacific. On the home of the winning edge. The SportsGrid Radio Network.
Know someone with a drinking or drug problem? Learn how to get sober after we share these stories.
I was 35 with 2 beautiful children when my life and addiction started to spiral out of control. After my divorce, I went into a depression cycle and started drinking more often and using prescription drugs. After my second DWI and arrest, my ex-husband threatened to take our children away from me.
I was 17 when I became addicted to heroin and meth. I thought I could quit on my own, but I couldn't. It hit me when I was arrested.
Get sober now. Your private insurance may cover costs and we'll get you here. It's simple. Just call Elite Rehab Placement right now. Please don't wait. Your life matters to us.
800-959-6348. 800-959-6348. 800-959-6348. Call right now before it's too late. That's 800-959-6348.
Days are getting cooler. The shadows are getting longer. You know what that means. It's football weather. So bundle up and keep it here for all the latest strategies and gridiron information. It's smarter to be on SportsGrid. This is the SportsGrid Radio Network.
And we're back. Carver and Lisi, SportsGrid Radio, Sirius XM, channel 159, here with you on the grid. Carver, Sands, Lisi, Joe out. We'll be back Friday. Got myself here, of course, with Hit Per Bell. And, of course, I go through all that. and I drop in, and Mahomes 12-1 as an underdog. 12-1-1 against the spread as an underdog in his career. So I get it. I believe the 1 is against the Bills, by the way, one of these last couple of years in the regular season when Allen has gotten them. But, of course, after all that, and I give you the Mahomes number, of course, Matthias has to say to me during the break, yeah, I'm gonna bet the Chiefs. I'm going to bet the Chiefs on Sunday. Good. I hope you do. I hope you and everybody else does. I don't want any of you on the Bills. I don't want you. You guys all run to your Mahomes. Go run to the Chiefs like you always do. Always one of the most popular bets of the week. I hope it is again. When I do that thing on Friday with Pharrell, I want to see it. I want to see 86% of the bets on Kansas City, which won't be too, because it's going to be more split than that with Allen and Mahomes and the games being in Buffalo. But I hope everybody runs to the window for Kansas City, including you, Matthias. I hope that you run to the window for them as well.
Look, I'm taking Chris Jones to get to Josh Allen, and I'm taking DeAndre Hopkins to keep getting those touchdowns in the end zone. And yeah, I am putting on Pat Mahomes. The thing is, I need to see the injury report come game day, or come the final injury report, see what's happening, see who's available. I just think that the Chiefs right now, man, they got the receiver too. The Bills and the Chiefs have this little rivalry, obviously this big rivalry. And even in the middle of the season, when you're trading for the players, you guys trade for Amari Cooper, they trade for DeAndre Hopkins. So far, it seems like DeAndre Hopkins is a guy and Cooper is not. But I guess time will tell. That's all. You know what I mean? It seems like the Chiefs always got the number.
Now, the regular season games the past couple years have been, let me get this out here for this. Last year, 20-17. The year before that, 24-20. Both those games were in Arrowhead. Last year, they played in Buffalo, of course, in the AFC divisional game, and the game got to 51. What are they hanging for us here this week again? Hold on, let me get you up to the second number on this total for Bills Chiefs. 46.5. Now that's I don't know. As Joe would say, is this going to be a blue collar game? I believe it's going to be fairly nice in Buffalo. It's been really, the Northeast has been pretty good the entire football season so far. But I do think
sunny
that
with a bit of clouds. It says 54 sunny with a bit of clouds.
It's a nice. The weather's been great up there. It's been excellent. I don't know. Last year they played a 2017 game at Arrowhead in the regular season. I could see that again. I could see both defenses have been good. You have two of the best quarterbacks in the world. But this game's usually been in the high 40s, low 50s. It's been trickled down to 46.5. That's a tough number. It's a very tough number.
I think it goes over.
This game.
I think there's going to be points. I see this game like 29-27. 29-25, along those lines. It'll be fun.
This guy, 29-27, right on the number with the 2.5. Right on the number he puts it. Come on. You can't do that. You can't put it right on the number like that.
I did 29-25
here.
I did 29-25 right after. I said 29-25 right after. I switched it. 29-25. Fun game.
There you go. Bills, Chiefs. Me and Joe obviously will do more about that on Friday night. Washington and Philly, Thursday night game to start Week 11. This is a hell of a game. Of course, Philly 7-2, Washington 7-3. Washington coming off the tough loss against Pittsburgh on Sunday. Philly smashed the Cowboys in Dallas, and Philly's been playing well now the last few weeks. You wouldn't know it if you listen to Sports Talk Radio in the city of Philadelphia, but they have been playing well the last few weeks. -3.5 for the Eagles, 48.5 the total. I got to tell you, Matthias, I love the Washington story. I love Jaden Daniels, but I got a feeling.
Slow down.
I got a feeling that this is kind of the start of something here. Them losing that game to Pittsburgh. They lose to the Eagles here. The good news for them will be that they play the Cowboys next Sunday. So, I mean, that's going to help them. But in terms of winning the NFC East,
tough.
8-2 on one, what it would be? It'd be 8-2 and 7-4 they'd be 2 games back in the loss and have a loss to them. That would make it's fairly difficult. I like the Eagles a lot in this game. And in fact, I know the half is this very scary proposition when it's on the 3, but I ain't as scared of this one. I think the Eagles win this game by a touchdown or more on Thursday night. I like the Eagles a lot. I think they're better.
I like the Eagles too in a tight game. I think Washington's starting to slow down a little bit. I don't think Jaden Daniels been the same guy since he got the rib injury, unfortunately.
He is not. And
Carolina,
the offense has been called differently. The offense has been called differently since he got the rib injury because they're not running him as much. They're not doing design runs with him, especially down on the goal line. They've not been doing the same offense that they called the first few weeks of the season. Not at all.
I agree with you. That's why I like the Eagles too. If it wasn't for that rib injury, though, this team would be flying and gunning, man. The way that offense was moving was special. You know, people were getting open. The whole team was playing around him. He was playing with no fear. But now we're seeing kind of the opposite take place. So, and the Eagles are rolling. You know what I mean? It's a confident bunch right now. You look at them; they're all hitting. Devontae Adams with one-handed catches. You know, Brown's getting touchdowns every single week. Barkley's a human highlight reel. You know, jumping over people backwards. It just seems like they're pressing all the right buttons, and you don't want to get in front of that team right now. Do you think the defense is going to consistently play well? Because that was kind of like the downfall a little bit earlier in the season, was inconsistent from both sides of the football. But now it's been an all-around performance on both sides.
Both sides have been good. I think both sides are going to be good here on Thursday night. And we'll come back and let's get a couple props here for this SGP. Joe's not here, but we're going to do the SGP anyway for the Eagles and Washington. We'll come back and do that. Sports Grid Radio, Carver and Lisi, Sirius XM, back after this.
Fall is coming. Don't look like an idiot at work. Know your stuff. Football and everything else. It's smarter to be on Sports Grid. This is the Sports Grid Radio Network. Carver and Lisi.
They have, no doubt about it, shut it down. You listen to some of those guys after that loss in Arizona, they have completely shut it down. Rodgers sounded like he couldn't get back in that bunker with the darkness retreat fast enough after that game on Sunday. He is so finished. They all are gutless.
It's Carver and Lisi with Mike Carver and Joe Lisi. Tuesdays, Wednesdays, and Fridays. 8 p.m. Eastern, 5 Pacific. On the Sports Grid Radio Network.
The Sports Grid Radio Network presents This Date in Sports History.
I'll tell you, we got to hang a sign out that says the doctor is in.
1985, Dwight Gooden wins the Cy Young Award and is the youngest 20-game winner.
Looking to strike out the side. He does it.
Pitching that year was just a magical year, and when I pitched, I did want the 10 strikeouts, I did want the shutout, I did want a complete game. I want to get a fan something extra to go home about.
For Sports Grid Radio, I'm Mike DeMurgis.
Sports Grid TV and radio networks are the premier streaming video and audio channel dedicated to serving the sports wagering audience. Found on major smart TV platforms and streaming on Sports Grid Radio and Sirius XM Channel 159. Sports Grid's real-time data, expert commentary, and entertaining analysis transform viewers into informed sports enthusiasts. Our weekday radio lineup begins with the early line at 8 a.m. Eastern with Ben Stevens and Donnie Rightside. Donnie joins Kevin Walsh on Money Line at 11 a.m. Eastern, followed by Football Full Circle at noon Eastern. Kaplan and crew join the party at 1 p.m. Eastern, and Pharrell Coast to Coast keeps things rolling from 3 to 6 p.m. Eastern. Get in the mix with Kevin Walsh and Game Time Decisions at 6 p.m. Eastern. Evenings simmer with Carver and Lisi, then boils over with Gabe Moritzi on Sports Rage Late Night at 10 p.m. Eastern. To find out where to find Sports Grid that's best for you, go to sportsgrid.com. It's smarter to be on Sports Grid. Days are getting cooler and shadows are getting longer. You know what that means? It's football weather. So bundle up and keep it here for all the latest strategies and gridiron information. It's smarter to be on Sports Grid. This is the Sports Grid Radio Network.
And we're back. Carver and Lisi, Sports Grid Radio, Sirius XM 159, here with you. Carver sans Lisi, Joe out. He'll be back Friday. Hitper Bell is with us as always. All right, Eagles and Washington. the football team. I don't like calling them the Commanders. I'm sorry. I just don't. I think the name sucks. And I think they would have been better off keeping it as the Washington football team, to be quite honest. Just like I think Utah should be the Utah Hockey Club and not call it the Ice Fisherman or the Blizzard or whatever the hell it is they're going to call them after that. They should just keep it as the Hockey Club. Because some of these names they come with now, they're just beyond dopey. Like Cleveland, the Guardians. Stupid. It just really is. There you go. A little get off my lawn stuff for you there, Matthias. Let's see here. Washington and Philly. I think Philly's the play here. But we got to throw some props together for this SGP. I'm going to say I like Brown a lot. Brown cooks Washington every time he plays him. I'm going to start this off by rolling in Brown for a hundy at plus 164. A.J. Brown for a hundy at plus 164. And I think he'll have a bunch of catches, and one of them will be a long catch, maybe even for a touchdown. I love Brown. Lattimore's not playing still for Washington since the trade. I think it's a good spot for A.J. Brown to get cooking.
I like him to score a touchdown at plus 115. I also like Brian Robinson Jr. for a touchdown at plus 115. And the one I love the most is Zach Ertz over 3.5 receptions. I think Zach Ertz gets at least 5.
I'll take one of yours here. I'll put Robinson in because he is going to play, they announced on Wednesday. Robinson is in for the game. I know he's missed the last couple of weeks, but he's going to be out there. I got plus 140 here, Matthias, on FanDuel right now. So I got plus 140 for Robinson to score.
Damn them.
So I'm going to put that in as part of the mix here.
Dallas Goedert over 30.5 yards is juicy as well. I think Goddard's been playing
but I'm greedy. And I can't just go with the standard number, as you've probably learned by now around here. I have to always got to be alt.
Absolutely.
Got to alt it up.
I understand.
Got to alt it up.
Have you been hitting first touchdowns? We don't work game days anymore, so we don't get the party when you hit first touchdowns. But have you been hitting first touchdowns lately?
I had a streak in October where we hit a bunch, but I feel like the last couple weeks it's been cold. Now, Monday you had this no-name on Miami get the first touchdown, which was just the worst. But who was that? Malik Washington or something? So nobody wins that. Nobody won that.
Sucked.
Sunday night was Mixon, right? So that was chalk. So I'm never going to take chalk, which was Sunday night. And then last Thursday, I feel like we were in the mix with some. Who had it last Thursday in the Raven-Bengal game? Was it Brown? He had Brown. Had Brown for that first touchdown. So that one I did have. But we were real hot in early October with the first tutties in the primetime games. Real hot. And we need to get cooking.
I think we should roll with the running backs tomorrow. I think we should roll with the backs.
We'll look at that in a moment. I don't mind that. We're going to do that. Let me first just finish this off. Now, I like, when I think that they're going to lose, they throw to Eckler a lot when they're down. But they don't have the number up yet for Eckler because it's not game day. They only have like the bigger names up for that right now. How about Barkley? We like Barkley?
I'm afraid to play Barkley. I'm afraid to play Barkley in his receptions because one game he gets some, and then one game he gets one. It's been hit or miss, and his numbers isn't juicy enough for me. I think on BetMGM, right. Barkley over 1.5 receptions is minus 200.
Barkley for 25 receiving yards at plus 230.
I would. You know what? I would take that. I would take that.
I'm putting it in.
You know what? Because the price is right.
The
price is right. The value's right. It's a nice value.
I'm putting it in.
You just need one good catch. You know, you just need one good catch, and he's off, and he'll get that. You know, if he's off to the races, he's so special.
I don't think. Who else could I go with here? All right, we got to put one more leg in. We'll do when we come back. Carver and Lisi, SportsGrid Radio, Sirius XM 159. We're back on the grid right after this.
loser is kind of a mean-spirited slur.
But it doesn't have to stick.
Tell them to listen to SportsGrid and fix it.
No, thank you. Later.
This is the SportsGrid Radio Network. The new SportsGrid app is now available on iOS and the App Store. Experience the ultimate sports betting companion that provides personalized content from your favorite hosts. In-depth matchup previews, game and prop picks, live odds, stats, scores, and more. All in one place. And of course, on the SportsGrid app, you can tune into our live television and radio coverage anytime. On the go, wherever you are. Download the SportsGrid app on the iOS App Store now. It's smarter to be on SportsGrid. Pharrell, Coast to Coast.
Their offense is anemic. I'm not surprised they fired Waldron. I'm surprised Eberflus hasn't been fired, to be honest with you. And I don't really care who they play at quarterback. They're overrated. They're terrible. And another thing, the Bears' D is their corners. They are anemic. They can't stop a runny nose.
It's Pharrell, Coast to Coast with Scott Farrell. Weekdays, 3 p.m. Eastern, noon Pacific. On the home of the winning edge, the SportsGrid Radio Network.
If you turned 65 recently like me, it's important you find a Medicare Advantage plan that gives you the coverage you're looking for. But finding one can be difficult. The best thing I did, and I suggest you do the same, is call a licensed insurance agent and let them walk you through your Medicare Advantage plan options. There are so many benefits you have access to, so make the call now and let the representatives explain everything to you. Our licensed insurance agents can offer you a variety of Medicare Advantage plans. Plus, the call is free, the information is free, and there's no obligation to enroll. We're here to make it easy for you to select a Medicare Advantage plan that may work for your needs. Finding a Medicare Advantage plan can be easy if you do what I did. Make a quick call right now to learn more. Thank you.
800-365-6303. 800-365-6303. 800-365-6303. That's 800-365-6303.
No way football is playing in the fall and winter.
Because the hits don't hurt as much when you're numb. Get the lowdown on all the sports action coming up right here.
It's smarter to be on SportsGrid.
This is the SportsGrid Radio Network.
Yeah. And we're back. Carver and Lisi, SportsGrid Radio, Sirius XM 159. Here with you on the grid. All right, let's finish this off because I have a lot of other things I need to get to. I need to get to the UFC picks also and several other things. A.J. Brown, 100-plus yards all. Brian Robinson Jr., touchdown. Barkley, 25-plus receiving yards. And then,
during the break, I got a little reluctant. On Brian Robinson Jr. You know why? Because he's coming off of injury. And I don't know if he's I don't know if he's going to be limited and stuff like that.
If he's playing, he gets the rock inside the 5. Like, they don't mess around. He gets the touches down
that's
there.
what I'm thinking.
Especially with Daniels not running right now with the ribs. He gets the rock when they are in there. So he might not get the yardage. He might not get the carries. He'll get the ball inside the 5. If he's out there, he's going to get those goal line touches.
No, you're right.
So
That's what he's been eating all year. He's been doing it all year.
I'm not worried about it. So he's the top Washington scorer on the board at plus 140. And I'm going to take him. You know what? I realized I don't have anything with McLaurin in here. So that's who I'm going to add in also.
Do you like his reception total?
I never play receptions. I'm not going to lie to you. I never play receptions. I'm a yardage guy. Receptions are. I don't like his reception total. It is. I don't love it.
Receiving yards, one bomb away.
I know. Receiving yards are just. I have a lot more fun with receiving yards. Counting catches just isn't. And I get the pros and cons. There's pros and cons with both. Whether you are a yardage guy or a catch guy, I'm not. I'm a yardage guy. I want to go after it that way. So I'm going to go with McLaurin 70 plus at plus 128. So that'll be the last leg. So Joe not here tonight, so he doesn't have any say in the Carver and Lisi SGP this week. And Matias threw in Brian Robinson Jr. anytime. So Brown for 100, McLaurin for 70, Barkley for 25. All three of those are receiving. Brian Robinson Jr. anytime touchdown. Plus 38.24, which is very nice because if you're a $10 max, which is what they give me, it's a nice 382 if it ever happens. And if you're a Joe player with a $100 max, you get a really nice chunk. So that's what we're going to go with here. The Carver and Lisi SGP in the books. All right. I want to get this in now because I don't want to forget it. And I have a few other things I want to do, but I told Matias to give me the UFC tonight because I know what's going to happen on Friday night. Friday night, we've got the picks, the college, the NFL. Joe's not going to allow it, even though it's a big UFC card. So I want to get them in tonight. Gives people time to get the plays in. Now, this is a UFC at the Garden, 309. Garden always has a good card. Now, I thought that Jones and Stipe had fought it before. It's just the fact, what I actually did remember, Matias, was that they were supposed to fight like 10 times, and they never did. So that's probably what confused me. They were supposed to fight several times. It's never happened. So this actually is the first time Jones and Miocic are getting together. But you have some other very good fights on here, including Oliveira against Chandler. This Bo Nickel against Craig. What do you have here? They got Silva. That's the women's fight.
I have her in one of my parlays.
Okay. Give me the two big fights, Matias. Who do you like for the two big fights in this card?
I like John Jones via submission. I think he takes down Stipe.
Okay.
I don't think he wants a box with Stipe Miocic, who Golden Gloves, boxer type of. He has pedigree in the boxing world, man. The guy has hands. That's why he was a former champion. That's why he defended the belt. He has power behind those hands. And John Jones, he's not 28 years old. John Jones is 38 years old. Stipe Miocic is about 42 years old. So, these aren't young guys. They've taken, lots of tread on the tires for both of these guys, two legends of the sport. But I can't take Stipe. The price is something that I want to flirt with, and it keeps pulling me every single day. But I keep saying no. John Jones, what he did to Cyril Gahn, a polished MMA fighter, Hall of Fame legend, taking you to the ground, submitting you, winning the fight quick as possible, no damage taken, so he could keep fighting guys and making money in the future. John Jones doesn't want to get in there and get in the brawl and have to retire. He's got hit in the head too much at 38 years old. John Jones wants to get in there, take no damage, win, and keep fighting and making money to keep getting his career going. Keep going as long as he can, because the end is near for John Jones. And I'm feeling Michael Chandler. At plus 200 money. Man, it's even more higher than that in some books. It's like plus 250, plus 235.
When was honestly the last time he fought? I know I made a joke earlier about the last time he fought.
2 years ago.
2 years ago.
2 years ago.
2 years ago.
Okay. So it ain't that long. And he's also been in shape. It's not like he's been sitting there doing lines at Conor McGregor's bar. He's been in the gym. He's been pumping iron. He's been hitting it. He's been doing all the good stuff, trying to get ready for Conor McGregor. Well, now he gets to take out his anger on Charles Oliveira. And, he keeps saying that he's going to fight smart. He's not going to do it the old Michael Chandler way. If people remember, Charles Oliveira had Michael Chandler by the back in round 1 the first time they fought. What did Mike Chandler do? He backflopped on him, did exactly what everybody tells you what not to do, and he did that, got out of it, reversed it, and did some ground and pound, and was about 2 seconds away from winning that fight. You know what? This time in the U.S., the last fight was in the U.S., but Madison Square Garden, don't matter. This guy's going to get it done. I see his hand getting raised, Mike. I really do. I just think it's his time to win a big fight. It's not like he hasn't been undeserving of it. People hate Mike Chandler for no reason. This guy goes in there, balls to the wall every time, goes for the kill, no fear. Now he's going to be fighting with tempo. He's going to be fighting relaxed. He's going to be looking for the one-shot kill, and I think he's going to find it against a guy who's chinny. Let's not forget Charles Oliveira is a little chinny. He's been dropped multiple times in his career. He doesn't like to get hit in the chin.
All right. I could go with Chandler.
The price is right, guys. The price is right.
Any other dog that you like, whether it's the main card or the bottom card? No other dog. No dogs. Can't bark. Can't bark with you, huh?
No
bark.
No, I don't. Possibly Jonathan Martinez against Marcus McGee. Jonathan Martinez, I don't think would be a dog if
you gotta
he
be
didn't
kidding
lose
me.
to Joseph
Weidman's still fighting?
Yeah,
Chris
you know
Weidman?
who's fighting? Eric Enders. Eric Enders, former Alabama linebacker. Eric Enders, been in the UFC for quite some time now. This is an old-timer fight. I like the over 2.5 rounds, and I think whoever wins via decision. I don't know who to take in that fight. I was literally thinking of that fight earlier today, and I'm thinking I should tell people not to bet on this fight because you really can't tell me confidently that this guy's going to win because of this. You can't tell me that Weidman's going to win because of that. It's just a fight that's going to be pick your spots.
Weidman from my hometown, so I always root for him whenever he's out there. And I like that. That's nice that he's fighting. I'm surprised he's still fighting. It's been a long time since he's obviously had a strap, but the fact that when he does fight, he still gets in on the local cards here at the Garden is nice to see. That at least Weidman's going to have some local flavor to him here at the Garden. So that's nice.
I got one parlay for you, Carver, for the people. A parlay for the people. Nothing massive. I ain't going to give you some 6-teamer. Shoot for the stars.
Give me it.
I like Obon Elliott minus 250 and Kareem Silva at minus 275. You parlay those together. It's minus 111.
And who's the other one?
Kareem Silva taking on Vivian Araujo.
Okay.
I like Kareem Silva minus 275.
I got minus 119 for that. I have minus 119 for those two together.
There you go.
Right.
I don't want to.
We'll put it with the golf.
I could say let's get the plus money. Put it with the golf. Or put it with John Jones if you want some plus money on it.
You can put it with John Jones. We could do that too. You never know. There you go.
That gets you the plus money.
I will put it to plus money if you throw Jones in there. That's very true. Throw Chandler on top also. Let's go. Everybody in.
Then that pays the rent. Let's go.
Yeah. Carver and Lisi, SportsGrid Radio, Sirius XM 159. We're back in.
Yeah, it's getting cooler. Football weather is here. Stay tuned for all the latest odds, strategies, and info. It's smarter to be on SportsGrid. This is the SportsGrid Radio Network. Carver and Lisi.
They have, no doubt about it, shut it down. You listen to some of those guys after that loss in Arizona, they have completely shut it down. Rodgers sounded like he couldn't get back in that bunker with the darkness retreat fast enough after that game on Sunday. He is so finished. They all are gutless.
It's Carver and Lisi with Mike Carver and Joe Lisi. Tuesdays, Wednesdays, and Fridays. 8 p.m. Eastern, 5 Pacific. On the SportsGrid Radio Network.
The SportsGrid Radio Network presents This Date in Sports History.
I'll tell you, we got to hang a sign out that says the doctor is in.
1985, Dwight Gooden wins a Cy Young Award and is the youngest 20-game winner.
Looking to strike out the side. He does it.
Pitching that year was just a magical year, and when I pitched, I did want the 10 strikeouts, I did want the shutout, I did want a complete game. I want to give a fan something extra to go home about.
For SportsGrid Radio, I'm Mike DeMurgis.
SportsGrid TV and radio networks are the premier streaming video and audio channels dedicated to serving the sports wagering audience. Found on major smart TV platforms and streaming on SportsGrid Radio and Sirius XM Channel 159. SportsGrid's real-time data, expert commentary, and entertaining analysis transform viewers into informed sports enthusiasts. Our weekday radio lineup begins with the early line at 8 a.m. Eastern with Ben Stevens and Donnie Rightside. Donnie joins Kevin Walsh on Money Line at 11 a.m. Eastern, followed by Football Full Circle at noon Eastern. Kaplan and crew join the party at 1 p.m. Eastern, and Pharrell Coast to Coast keeps things rolling from 3 to 6 p.m. Eastern. Get in the mix with Kevin Walsh and Game Time Decisions at 6 p.m. Eastern. Evenings simmer with Carver and Lisi, then boils over with Gabe Moritzi on Sports Rage Late Night at 10 p.m. Eastern. To find out where to find SportsGrid that's best for you, go to sportsgrid.com. It's smarter to be on SportsGrid. Fall is almost here. It's time to stow the lawnmower and get ready for all that glorious action coming your way. Stay tuned to SportsGrid for all the strategies, angles, and info you need to get the winning edge. This is the SportsGrid Radio Network.
And we're back. Carver and Lisi, SportsGrid Radio, Sirius XM, Channel 159. One other thing, Matthias, in the fighting world. I'm not gonna lie, I am
Big Mike Tyson.
Stunned. I am stunned that you can bet on this Tyson thing. Now, I actually don't see it in New York. I don't think you could play it in New York.
It shouldn't be allowed.
Which doesn't surprise me because I actually don't think you should be able to bet on it anywhere legit. Because I think the whole thing is a joke. Like it's like fixed. And it wouldn't surprise me one bit. Yeah, I don't see it on the board anywhere in New York on a couple books that I just checked. Now, I saw BetMGM tweet out some numbers for this fight today. Let me get these up that they had put out. Yeah, they have Jake Paul open at minus 275, now minus 190. Tyson open plus 275, now plus 188. 76% of the bets and 59% of the money is on Tyson. And aren't they only doing like 8 rounds? Or it's like not even some nonsense rules here for this fight too. How are any of these Jake Paul fights like bettable? Like I guess New York's smart, they don't put them on their board, but I can't believe that there's some places that let you bet on this, Matthias, to be quite honest with you.
You know, you can't bet on it on BetMGM, I noticed. So I could, you can't say, but if you go to some offshore things, you could definitely find them there. You could pretty much bet on anything on those types of things. So it's wild, man. And the thing with Tyson, man, I saw him today. He couldn't even take off his shirt. So they're obviously taking it super easy on the guy. They don't want him to pull anything. They don't want him to lift his arms too high, hurt himself. You know what I mean? I think they just need him to get to the fight so they can get to the pay-per-view. And then once the fight starts, I think he's going to take a flop. I think he's going to chase down Jake Paul. I think he's going to throw a couple 1-2s, throw a couple huge overhand rights, the massive overhand rights that slept so many people in his heyday. And then something crazy is going to happen. He's going to fall and it's going to be over. I really do think that. I think Paul's going to tell him, you're going to come at me. You're going to throw something at me, and nothing's going to happen. I'm going to hit you once, and you're going to go down, and that'll be it. But let's just give the people what they want. Throw that massive overhand right, and let the people go crazy. Let the people get that pay-per-view dollar that they paid for, and go home happy. They both make a lot of money. That's the point, right? Hey, that's the point of this fight, is both of them get paid.
I guess that is the point of this fight, is that the both of them get paid. I certainly would never wager a nickel on a fight such as this. I can't even watch it.
I've wagered once on Paul. Once on Paul, and I won money on Paul. I won money by betting against Paul when I bet Tommy Fury. I bet on Tommy Fury when he fought Paul. Fury boxes. He's an amateur boxer. So what I do, the one time Paul's fighting a real amateur boxer, you bet on the other guy, and the other guy wins. What do you know? That's why. I don't know, Mike.
By the way, to give you my King of the Court update for tonight, Tatum actually finished. He must have had some monster fourth quarter. Jason Tatum's out of the game as the Celtics are going to end up winning by 30, which, this game was tight for 3 quarters. They must have outscored him. Let me get the numbers here. 34-21 in the fourth quarter, they outscored him. Tatum finishes with 36 points, 9 boards, and 10 assists. So that's what, 55, right? That's 55 Tatum finished with. So I need Wembanyama to do some work. Now, I've got the 40-plus for Wembanyama. That's in the barn. He's back in the game, and he's now got, let me see here. He's got 40. This guy's got 42 points, Wembanyama, and it's not
4-2, 42-4-2, 42-4-2.
So he's at 48.
2 assists.
At 48. So I need him to pass Tatum. He's got to get to 56. So I need 8 points, rebounds, assists from Wembanyama in the fourth quarter, and I also need Giannis to not get to 56 also. Because Giannis, but they're getting smashed right now. Although they made
Mike? I think they want him to get 50, Mike. I think they want him to get 50, Mike. You know what I mean? Why not? Why not? Why not propel him to get 50 against a team like the Washington Wizards?
Unless he plays, like Giannis, they're in this game now. It's a 2-point game. Giannis is going to get to like 60 tonight. He's got 38, 8 and 3.
It's a 21-point game against San Antonio.
He's like just about at 50. He's got 4. It's going to be Giannis. Now I can't complain. I hit the 13-1 for Wembanyama for 40+ points. So at least I got that. But I'm not going to get this king of the court unless
you know what you needed.
The problem is
you needed him to get some more bounds.
Right, he's done nothing on the glass now.
My God,
like
4
6,
bounds.
7. He's at 40. He's at 49 going to the fourth. And Giannis, I said, is at what? He's at 48, 49 also. See, the problem is Giannis is in a close game, and the Spurs are up 20. And they are so nervous about how much they play Wembanyama. And he's had this money. They got to keep him in. You want him to get 50, Matisse? You think they'll keep him in for 50? Let him get it for 50.
I do.
Keep him in there.
Why not? He's young. But when else is he going to get a chance to get to 50? You know,
I mean,
in the next couple weeks.
He's played 22 minutes tonight. Like, you can't keep play 8 of the 12 in the fourth. I mean, come on.
No, I could see him letting him get to 50
and
then taking him out. It's a
Here's
big
what we
streak
need
to get to 50.
Wizards get it to 17. We got to get the Wizards to cut it to 10.
There we go.
We got a couple boards in there for Wembanyama and that. Let's go. Get him in there for some of that.
Hey, Mike, you know what? If he hits a couple threes and he gets to 50 real quick, or 52, maybe they drop him in there for 60. Maybe they leave him in there for 60. Who knows? Accolade.
Carver and Lisi, SportsGrid Radio, Sirius XM 159. We're back right after this.
The boys of summer become the champions of fall. The World Series is on its way. And SportsGrid brings you every angle. This is the SportsGrid Radio Network.
The Technology Minute with George Capalbo.
In case you've been worried about AI taking your job and destroying the world economy, perhaps fear not. A large, well-known fast food chain is quietly dropping its AI-powered drive-through automated order-taking system after some mishaps.
Would you like extra sauce with your 2,100 orders of chicken nuggets?
Believe it or not, these are actual scenarios.
I'm sure you asked for 40 dozen pounds of butter.
The fatal flaw? Voice recognition AI that can't identify misidentified spoken orders.
I just want you to know that I have complete confidence in the long-term success of this mission. By the way, here is your 4-gallon can of bacon cob caramel ice cream.
Yahoo! Follow me at Chicapalbo on X and stay tuned to The Technology Minute for more cool stuff like this.
Do you use the expensive blue or yellow pills to charge your sex life? Are you thinking about it? What if we can promise you the same results for less than $3 a pill? If you're paying $20 a pill for the other pills, you're getting taken to the cleaners. Our pills deliver the exact same results for less than $3. You'll save more than $16 a pill for the same results. And right now, radio callers will get 44 blue or yellow pills for $120 with free discreet shipping. You can save more than $700 off pharmacy prices. Charge your sex life now and save a ton of money. Call now and get your 44 pills and save over $700 and qualify for free shipping. Stop overpaying and call right now.
Paid for by Steelman Pills. 800-823-3851. 800-823-3851. 800-823-3851. That's 800-823-3851.
No way football is playing in the fall and winter because the hits don't hurt as much when you're numb. Get the lowdown on all the sports action coming up right here. It's smarter to be on SportsGrid. This is the SportsGrid Radio Network.
Yeah. And we're back. Carver and Lisi, SportsGrid Radio, Sirius XM. Channel 159 here with you, Carver, Sands, Lisi, Joe out on assignment. He'll be back on Friday. Hit Burbell's been with us. I'm going to give you this update. The King of the Court stuff's a little crazier than I thought it was, Matthias. There was a few guys I didn't know. that were also having monster nights. But before I finish with that, I didn't get to the golf. That's the only thing I didn't get to tonight. The Bermuda tees off in the morning. Only this week and then next week, the RSM on Seal Island, and then we're done until January for the golf, which is very sad. Here's where we're going in Bermuda. High winds, by the way, for all 4 days. Need some guys who play well in the wind, and you need some guys who play well on Bermuda, and that's why we have, as Keith Stewart of Read the Line likes to dub him, Bermuda Ben Griffin, which is for Bermuda grass, but they're playing in Bermuda, so it also fits. 20-1, chalky side pick for me. Matty Schmidt at 30-1. Jacob Bridgman at 35-1. Garrick Higo, hello, at 90-1. Justin Suh at 90-1. For the placements, Seamus Power, T5 at 4-1. Lucas Glover, T10 at plus 260. Nico Echavarria, a T10 at plus 330. Wesley Bryan, T20 at plus 210. Coles at T20 at plus 240. And just for Joe, David Skins, a T20 at plus 500. DP World Tour Championship, Dubai. Lowry at 16-1. Matt Wallace at 20-1. Thurston Lawrence at 28-1. Adrian Moronk at 65-1. And Matteo Manacero, Joe's cousin, double M, at 110-1 for the golf this weekend. All right. Now, what happened here? The Bulls at the line. Kobe White with 3 free throws, so they go up 1.
You're saved.
This Bull
You're
Knicks
saved.
game well, I'm not really saved. Knicks, obviously, well, they're not going to go to overtime, you would think. But still, Katz had a monster game. He's got 46, 10, and 3. So that's quick math, Matthias. He's at 59 with potentially an overtime to come here.
It's
now,
okay. You still got it. You still got
I
it.
don't still got anything. Now, here's the problem with the Giannis and Wemby thing. Giannis, as the Bucks have come back to tie that game, has 38, 8, and 4. So he's at 50. And Wembanyama, he was at 52, right? Was Wembanyama at 50?
Wembanyama has
5 and
53
2.
total. 46, 5, and 2.
53 now. So
we'll get there, Mike.
He needs to get to 60 plus, and I don't even still think that'll be enough because I think that Giannis is going to get him because this game's a blowout. They baby Wembanyama. He's not going to play the last 5-6 minutes of this game. You just know it because of it's a blowout. But you're right. How often is the kid in this spot? Let him get to 50. Hell, let him get to 60, Matthias. This is a special night for him on the Riverwalk against Washington.
I'll tell you
let
what,
him
Mike.
Keep filling it up. Come on.
Well, I've been on with Gabe recently, and he's been telling me don't take Wembanyama 3-point props. He's hit 8 of them today. He's 8 for 14 from 3, Mike. You know what I mean? So there you go. You need him to keep drilling some threes, my man, because that's the reason he has so many points. He's been on fire.
And I've played his threes before in the past. But like I said, I did the 40-plus tonight with him. But I've been involved with the threes. Of course, the nights I play the threes, he hits 1 or 2. Tonight he goes completely bonkers. But you know what? He's got such a big point night, Matthias, but he's so below what he normally does on the glass. And if he just had his normal numbers on the glass, I'd be in such good shape here with him. Hope we'll see what happens.
It's okay. He has 47 now. He's climbing.
Now the Bucks actually have Giannis out of the game right now, but you know he's going to come back in and finish things off at some point. They're giving him a little bit of a rest here. He's got 38, 8, and 4, Giannis. So it's going to be close, King of the Court, here tonight for all that. Washington, Philly tomorrow night. Of course, Joe will be with the Syndicate crew, him, DRS, and KW. They will have you throughout the game. Matthias will be with Gabe on the radio side for Sports Rage. We'll be back Friday night. All the picks, hour 1, college football. Me and Joe, only time this week together, so we will make sure that we get as much in as we can. Second hour, NFL with the picks. I need a big bounce back week, man. I missed some of those totals by a half, 2 of the totals that I had last week in our NFL picks. So we need to absolutely change that up this week for that. Great job by everybody tonight, especially you, Matthias Burbell, holding it down while Joe is out on assignment. Carver and Lisi, Sports Grid Radio. Cash a bunch of tickets. We will see you back here Friday night on the Grid.
48 points, Wembanyama. 48 points, Wembanyama. Let's go.
Luck is winning the lottery. Strategy is settling your divorce before cashing in the ticket. It's smarter to be on SportsGrid. Get the winning edge. This is the SportsGrid Radio Network.